muharanire kuwuteza imbere. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM. Ibiyobyabwenge birica kandi birangiza. Rinda ubuzima bwawe n'ubwa mugenzi wawe, tugira igihugu kizira ibiyobyabwenge. Rubyiruko nimwe musingi ukomeye w'igihugu. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
Broadcasting from Kagame. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Muganga. The headlines. President Paul Kagame today officiated the swearing-in ceremony of newly appointed ministers. The Ministry of Education has clarified on the just announced review in teachers' salaries and the implication of the rise in the remuneration of teachers in primary and secondary schools. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has called for slavery reparations to Africa and the African diaspora. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. President Paul Kagame today received Shileshe Kapwepwe, the Secretary General of the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, who updated him on ongoing COMESA activities. Rwanda is a member of various agencies and institutions of COMESA, such as the COMESA Monetary Institute and the PTA Reinsurance Company, ZEPRI. Rwanda also hosted the COMESA Heads of State and Government Summit in 2005 and chaired the bloc for 2 years. Later this afternoon, President Paul Kagame officiated the swearing-in ceremony of newly appointed Minister of Public Investments and Privatization, Eric Rwigamba, and Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Ildefonse Musafiri. The swearing-in ceremony took place at Parliament Building this afternoon. The two ministers were appointed by the President on July 30th. At the swearing-in ceremony, President Paul Kagame congratulated the new leaders on their inauguration and wished them success in their new roles. He said the new ministers will draw on a wealth of experience gained from previous roles. Only their roles have changed, but their mission remains the same: to work for the country's development. He noted that trade, investments and agriculture are critical pillars of our country's development. They will also be critical enablers in the economic recovery from the COVID-19 impact. He said agriculture must be transformed in order for Rwandans to be food secure. The President added that the new Ministry of Public Investments and Privatization will oversee how public business entities perform and, where possible, fast track on how they can be privatized and some should be privatized. The new ministry, led by Mr. Eric Rwigamba, will focus on profit-oriented public investments while identifying opportunities for the government and new investments. Privatization was handled by the Rwanda Development Board until the creation of the new ministry. President Paul Kagame emphasized that the government's role is not to run businesses, but rather to create an environment conducive for business success. The former Trade Minister Beata Habyarimana has been appointed as the new CEO of Becker Group PLC, the holding company with subsidiaries which include Bank of Kigali, Becker General Insurance, Becker Capital and Becker Tech House, among other interests. Following the appointment, Mark Holtzman, chairman of the board of directors of Becker Group PLC, said that the group will benefit from the leadership of the economist who takes over the role from Dr. Diane Karisisi, who has been acting as both the CEO of the group since 2017 and as the managing director of Bank of Kigali, the main subsidiary of Becker Group PLC. Now on to matters of education. The Ministry of Education has clarified on the just announced review in teachers' salaries and the implication of the rise in the remuneration of teachers in primary and secondary schools. According to Minister of Education Valentine Wamaria, primary school teachers, only those with 80 certificates, will get the 88% pay rise. By implication, say that starting August, a primary school teacher will be paid 108,488 Rwandan francs, up from 57,639 Rwandan francs. In the same light, she pointed out that the government will also increase salaries for teachers with an A1 certificate to 191,811 Rwandan francs from 136,895 Rwandan francs, representing a 40% increase. For degree holders A0, mainly secondary school teachers, Minister Wamaria said that they will now receive 246,384 Rwandan francs, up from 176,189. Like the teachers, she highlighted that the government also revised salaries of head teachers, deans, as well as supporting staff. Besides injecting 5 billion Rwandan francs into Umwarimu Sacco, the teacher saving cooperative, to increase access to finance, Wamaria said that secondary school head teachers, including TVET, will now receive 314,850 Rwandan francs, while their primary school counterparts will receive 152,525 Rwandan francs, up from 101,681 Rwandan francs. Both Dean of Students and Discipline in public schools, depending on whether they are hired on the basis of A0, A1, A2, will also see an increase of up to 283,656 Rwandan francs, 163,506 Rwandan francs, 97,826 respectively. The minister said it is not about the rise in the payment, but they are looking at it as a way of creating a conducive environment for teachers who have long been unstable in this profession. At the expense of the government losing over 1,000 teachers every month in order to seek for better welfare, Wamaria sounded optimistic that the move will, among others, retain them but also improve their welfare. She noted that when a teacher's welfare improves, they tend to attend to their classes perfectly and lessons are delivered in time for the students. This will also boost the quality of education. The RWANDA Inspectorate Competition and Consumer Protection Authority says consumers should report traders and producers who seek to profit through unethical means, particularly by selling and producing counterfeit and substandard goods. According to the inspectorate body, this will assist it in protecting consumers' health as well as ensuring fair competition among businesses and service provision among traders and producers. The agency also recently published in the National Gazette regulations governing trade of used electrical and electronic equipment. RWANDA traders of this equipment to follow the rules in order to provide good services to customers. Mothers in Kivugiza village in Gicumbi district have commended the government's National Early Childhood Development Program, which was initiated to support children's development. The ECD centers provide holistic care to children in terms of education, nutrition and health care. The beneficiaries are mainly from those parents who can't afford to holistically care for their young ones. The mothers say the program has helped them in combating childhood malnutrition. They now also go to work knowing that their children are in good hands. The Director of Community Development for the Kivumu Cell urged parents who are opposed to ECD centers to reconsider because the program benefits both their children and themselves in general. About 3 people have been killed and others injured today in a traffic accident involving a fuel truck and a passenger bus on the outskirts of Rubavu town. The collision occurred at Gachuriro when a Virunga company car traveling from Rubavu to Kigali collided with a truck carrying petroleum products. It is believed the truck driver lost control of his tanker after brake failure. 3 people died instantly, including the driver of the Virunga car. Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. Now the Rwanda Stock Exchange market report. The trading session recorded its turnover of 78,785 Rwandan 78,785,490 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 7 deals on the fixed income market and 756,000 Rwandan francs from 3,400 shares traded in 4 deals on the equities market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 265 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a turnover of 636 Rwandan francs from 2,400 shares traded in 3 deals. Simergwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a turnover of 120,000 Rwandan francs from 1,000 shares traded in 1 deal. Bergwa closed the counter at 160 Rwandan francs. I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs. M10 Rwanda at 177 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. Now the currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.263 and the selling price was 0.268. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,019 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,039 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,247 and the selling price was 1,272. The euro buying price was 1,046 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,067 Rwandan francs.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
A recent business barometer launched by the East African Business Council shows that the rate of investments, operation and performance of business in the bloc is recovering with 11% increase in 2022. The report indicates a slight optimism in the coming year. This slight optimism corroborates the survey findings in the report regarding the impact of the pandemic on business and the perception of the business community on the effectiveness of the measures introduced by governments in response to the pandemic. The report indicates business outlook during 2022 into 2023. Most businesses in Rwanda, South Sudan and Tanzania are optimistic about improvements in the business climate, business performance, government interventions for business recovery from losses suffered during the pandemic, and expansion of businesses to other markets within the East African community after the pandemic. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has called for slavery reparations to Africa and the African diaspora. Speaking at the Reparations and Racial Healing Summit, President Akufo-Addo said these reparations were long overdue and needed to be intensified. He questioned double standards in the debate when it came to other races and ethnic groups that were wronged historically. He said Native Americans have received and continue to receive reparations. Japanese American families who were incarcerated in internment camps in America during World War II received reparations. Jewish people, 6 million of whom perished in the concentration camps of Hitlerite Germany, received reparations including homeland grants and support. He also complained that all the owners of enslaved Africans received reparation to the tune of £20 million sterling, but enslaved Africans themselves did not receive a penny. Haiti also had to pay reparations amounting to $21 billion to French slaveholders in 1825, following the Haitian Revolution. Whilst reiterating that no amount of money can restore the damage caused by the transatlantic slave trade and its consequences, which have spanned many centuries, the president said that nevertheless it is now time to revive and intensify the discussions about reparations for Africa. Indeed, the time is long overdue. UK police today charged a 20-year-old man with an offence under Britain's 1842 Treason Act after arresting him armed with a crossbow at Windsor Castle as Queen Elizabeth II spent Christmas Day there. The man from Southampton in southern England has also been charged with making threats to kill and possession of an offensive weapon following the incident at the castle southwest of London last year. He is currently in custody and will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court in the British capital on August 17th, according to London's Metropolitan Police. United States President Joe Biden has announced that Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri has been killed in a CIA drone strike in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. Al-Zawahiri was killed on Sunday in the biggest blow to the group since its founder, Osama bin Laden, was killed in 2011. The intelligence agency had located al-Zawahiri's family in Kabul earlier this year. Biden said, adding that no members of the family or civilians had been killed in the attack. An Egyptian sergeant with $25 million reward on his head, al-Zawahiri helped coordinate the September 11, 2001 attacks on the U.S. that killed nearly 2,000 people. With that, to come to the end of tonight's edition.